Hi, it's Marianne the Frugal Chef. Let's make a flan today. This is my easy version. There's all kinds of ways to do this, but this particular recipe is super easy and it comes out so good. And you know, it's great for these days, these holidays, or any time when you're entertaining. Let me show you how to make this. Perhaps the most complicated thing for our flan today is our caramel. It's really not hard to make, but it is tricky. I have a cup of sugar in this pot. You know, if you have a heavy pot, use it. You don't want the sugar to melt. You want the sugar to melt. You don't want it to burn. So what I'm going to do is I have it on low heat and I'm just going to let this sugar start melting. When it does, I'll come back. This sugar is starting to melt a little bit. I'm going to wet a brush and just brush down whatever I have on the sides. You know, some people like to stir their caramel the whole process. I don't. I like to just leave it alone. What we're going to start doing now is swirling our pan. Now this might look a little weird because of the position of the camera, but bear with me here. This is what we're going to do. We're going to start swirling that sugar. Okay, leave it alone. We don't want it to crystallize, and you run that risk when you're stirring it. See, you can see the sugar is almost all melted. I'm going to swirl it again. And this is getting very beautiful. Okay, now that it melted, I'm going to raise the heat and I want it to get dark but not burn. So keep an eye on it and just swirl it a little bit and let it finish doing its thing. That was quite easy, huh? Here's the tricky part. The tricky part is making sure it's dark and not burnt. Now, if you wanted more caramel for your flan, of course, just melt more sugar. I think a cup is plenty, though. Although that is my favorite part, the one that's covered in caramel. Okay, I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to pour it into this mold. Now, if you don't have a mold like this, no worries. Oh, by the way, don't scrape down the caramel. Just leave what stays in the pan because it will crystallize on you. So just let it pour in there and leave it alone. So no spatula for this. Now, I was saying, if you don't have a mold like this, don't worry about it. You can use a bread loaf pan for this. It's beautiful because once you unmold it, you can cut it into slices and it looks really good on the plate. So now I'm just going to swirl this caramel around. And I'm going to let it cool down. In this bowl, I have a 14-ounce can of evaporated milk, a 14-ounce can of condensed milk, 4 eggs, and a teaspoon of vanilla. You know, you can make this in the blender if you like. All I'm going to do now is whisk this until it is nice and uniform, and then I'm going to give it a good, 3 or 4 minute whisk on top of that. So when I have a nice cream, we'll put it in our mold. That's it. Can you imagine? Is that easy or is that easy? I told you I have other ways to make this and we'll make them in the future, but I thought this would be the best one for now. Great, great dessert for entertaining. Super delicious too. All right, I'm gonna work on this custard and I'll come back to you when it's done. Our custard is ready, so now I'm just gonna pour it into this pan. We are going to steam this in an oven at 350 degrees. I have my mold inside an oven-proof pan. And I'm going to put hot water in here. So I want it to reach about halfway onto my mold. Okay, perfect. Now here's the thing, this is going to be in the oven for about an hour and I want you to be checking it. If your water starts boiling really hard, reduce the oven a little bit. You don't want the water to start jumping into your flan. You just want it to steam and be ready. So I'm going to see you guys in an hour when this is cooked. Our flan is done. The sides absorb that caramel that I swirled. This is great. And you know, the custard is all set. I'm going to take it out of the hot water, let it cool down, and then I'm going to refrigerate it for at least an hour before I unmold this. And yes, you'll see how pretty it looks. So our flan is nice and cooled down. It was in the fridge for an hour. I'm now just going to run a knife on the sides of this so that we can take it out of the mold and put it on a nice platter. I'm now going to set a platter on top of the mold and flip it over. And here, my friends, is our flan. Isn't that cute? Oh, this is delicious. You know, I have some extra caramel in the mold, which I'm going to scrape out and just put on top. And you could serve this with whipped cream if you wanted to. I'm just going to serve it like this. It's perfect. Don't forget, I told you you could use a bread loaf pan for this. Perfect, you just cut it into slices. Buen provecho, my friends, from thefrugalchef.com. Come and see us. We have all kinds of recipes that are not in video form. Eat well without going broke. I will see you guys soon.